You don't even realize it yet, but every second you waste, every excuse you whisper to yourself is costing you millions. Not in some far-off dream, but right now. The 10 million mistake you're making isn't about bad investments, failed businesses, or missed opportunities. It's about the war you've lost inside your own mind. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, that you're tired, that life's unfair, and with every later, you bury your potential a little deeper. You scroll, you compare, you complain, and the world passes you by. The truth is, no one's coming to save you. No one cares how hard your life is or how many times you've been broken. The universe only respects one language: action. You're sitting on gold, but too afraid to dig. The version of you who had dreams, who believed, who wanted to conquer, he's still in there screaming for a chance. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the right time. The right time was yesterday. The next best time is now. Your 10 million mistake is believing you have time. You don't. The clock's been ticking since you were born. And it's almost out. Every excuse delays your destiny, and delay kills dreams. You think you're buying time by saying, "I'll do it tomorrow." But what you're really buying is regret. Every time you hit snooze on your goals, every time you promise yourself that next week you'll start, you're trading purpose for comfort. Excuses feel good in the moment because they protect your ego from pain. They whisper that you're still capable, just not right now. But here's the brutal truth. Not right now becomes never, faster than you think. You don't lose because you're weak. You lose because you keep postponing the moment you decide to fight back. Excuses are silent killers. They don't destroy you overnight. They do it slowly, quietly, while you convince yourself everything's fine. You scroll for motivation, you daydream about success, and you tell yourself you're preparing. But preparation without execution is nothing but disguised procrastination. You want to become great, but you're still waiting for the right time. Let me tell you something. The right time never comes. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It rewards those who move before they feel ready. Every second you waste trying to feel comfortable is a second someone else is using to build the life you want. You've convinced yourself you need more knowledge, more money, more support. But you already have enough to start. You just don't have enough belief. The dream you want is already yours in another timeline, one where you didn't make excuses, one where you acted when others hesitated. But you chose to wait. You chose comfort over growth. And every choice has a price. The price of excuses is potential, the most expensive thing you'll ever lose. Think about this. Every successful person you admire had reasons to quit. They had fear, they had pain, they had doubt, but they moved anyway. The difference between you and them isn't talent, it's decision. They decided their excuses weren't worth more than their destiny. They understood that every delay was a betrayal of the future they wanted. You, on the other hand, keep negotiating with your greatness. You say, just one more day, as if tomorrow will magically erase the weakness you refuse to face today. But it won't. Tomorrow only amplifies what you tolerate today. You can't build an empire on excuses. You can't win wars with hesitation. Destiny doesn't respond to intentions, it responds to movement. Every moment you spend waiting is a moment your destiny drifts further away. You think time is infinite, but it's not. Every excuse you make shortens your window to achieve. You're not running out of opportunities, you're running out of time to take them. That's what kills dreams. Not failure, not rejection, but hesitation. You're afraid of failing, but failure is better than waiting. Failure teaches, waiting destroys. Failure gives you clarity, waiting gives you confusion. You'd rather be busy dreaming than doing, because doing exposes you, it forces you to confront your limits. But that's where growth hides, in the discomfort you keep escaping. You can't become who you're meant to be while staying who you are. The moment you stop moving, you start decaying. Excuses rot your mind, your energy, your confidence. They tell you that small delays don't matter, but they add up, and one day they become the reason you never lived the life you imagined. You say you're tired. Everyone's tired. You say you don't have time. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The truth is, you don't lack time, you lack urgency. You treat your dream like an option, not a responsibility. You act like there will always be another chance, another start, another tomorrow. But there won't. Life is brutally short, and the clock doesn't stop ticking while you think. You either act now or you watch someone else live the life you should have had. There's a version of you that doesn't make excuses. The version that wakes up with purpose, that acts without overthinking, that pushes through pain because it knows what's at stake. That version of you already exists, but you keep silencing him with comfort. You let fear talk louder than ambition. You let your emotions dictate your actions instead of your vision guiding them. That's why you stay stuck. You've built a cage made of your own doubts, and every excuse adds another bar to it. You need to understand something deep. Destiny doesn't wait for indecisive people. It rewards the ones who move first, who take risks, who act even when they're unsure. Every excuse you make is another step away from the life you were meant to live. You can lie to everyone else, but you can't lie to yourself. You know when you're wasting time. You feel it. That guilt that hits you before bed, that quiet voice that says, you could have done more. That's your destiny knocking. But you keep hitting ignore. You keep choosing distraction over discipline and wonder why nothing changes. If you really want to change your life, stop defending your excuses. Excuses protect your weakness. Discipline destroys it. You can't keep blaming your circumstances when other people with less are achieving more. You're not stuck because life is unfair. You're stuck because you've accepted average as normal. You've let fear and laziness disguise themselves as logic. You tell yourself it's not the right moment, but what you really mean is, I'm scared. And that fear unchallenged becomes permanent. You've got to burn your excuses. You've got to reach a point where you're disgusted by your own hesitation. The fire that builds champions doesn't come from comfort. It comes from frustration, from refusing to live another day making the same mistakes. Excuses make you feel safe, but safety never built empires. Growth demands sacrifice. You must give up who you are for who you could be. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. Every second you delay, the dream fades. Every excuse you make, your destiny weakens. And one day, you'll wake up and realize the opportunity you waited for is gone, taken by someone who refused to wait. So stop lying to yourself. Stop saying, someday. There's no someday. There's only now. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your future. Tear it down. Move. Act. Push. You're not waiting for the right moment. You are the moment. And the longer you wait, the further your destiny slips away. The world only rewards action, not intentions. You can have the biggest dreams, the most brilliant plans, and the purest intentions, but if you never move, nothing changes. The universe doesn't pay attention to what you say you'll do. It responds only to what you actually do. People spend their lives talking about what they're going to do, convincing themselves that planning is progress. But plans mean nothing without execution. You can read every book, watch every motivational video, visualize every outcome. But if you never take the first step, you've achieved nothing. The harsh truth is that the world doesn't owe you success for wanting it. You don't get points for trying. You don't get rewarded for thinking about it. You get rewarded for movement, for persistence, for results. Intentions are easy because they live in your mind, a place where failure doesn't exist. You can be anything in your imagination, rich, strong, powerful, respected. But none of that means anything if you're too afraid to step into the real world and prove it. Action is uncomfortable. It exposes you. It forces you to face the gap between who you are and who you claim to be. That's why most people avoid it. They'd rather dream than do. They'd rather talk than try. Because trying means risking embarrassment, risking loss, risking pain. But that pain is the price of growth, and if you refuse to pay it, you'll stay exactly where you are, trapped by your own hesitation. The truth is, nobody cares about what you plan to do. They care about what you've done. You can tell people about your vision 1,000 times, but if you never act, they'll stop listening. Words lose power when they're not backed by movement. You can't manifest success through talk alone. The law of attraction only works when you take the law of action seriously. Every step, every small effort, every risk. That's what builds momentum. Action is the bridge between desire and destiny. Without it, your potential dies inside your comfort zone. Intentions are deceptive because they make you feel productive without producing anything. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right time, but that time never comes. You convince yourself you're thinking it through, but you're just procrastinating in disguise. You prepare a plan, adjust, overthink, and all the while, the world moves forward without you. Someone else with less talent, but more courage takes your place. Because this world doesn't care who's smarter, who's more capable, or who has better ideas. It rewards the one who acts first. Speed matters. Boldness matters. The person who dares wins. You could have everything you've ever wanted if you simply stopped hesitating. Every goal is reachable. Every dream is possible, but only through relentless execution. You say you want success, but do your actions prove it? You say you want wealth, but are you building it daily? You say you want to change, but what have you done differently today? Change doesn't happen through hope. It happens through action repeated until it becomes habit. You can't wish your way into a better life. You have to work your way into one. Look at the people who've made it. None of them were just dreamers. They were doers. They moved when others doubted. They acted when others hesitated. They took risks while others talked. That's why they win. They understand that motion beats motivation. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start. Because once you start, momentum builds. Discipline follows. Results appear. But if you keep waiting for a perfect plan or perfect timing, you'll still be in the same place 5 years from now, holding the same dreams that never became real. The world respects proof, not promises. You can't convince people with your potential. You convince them with your performance. Everyone has ideas, but execution separates the successful from the forgettable. That's why opportunities often go to those who act, even imperfectly. Because imperfect action still creates progress, while perfect intentions create nothing. You'll never have all the answers, and you'll never eliminate all the risks. But action teaches you what hesitation never will. Every failure carries a lesson that thinking can't provide. Every setback builds resilience that dreaming alone can't strengthen. You need to stop overvaluing intentions. Nobody gets remembered for what they meant to do. Nobody gets rich by planning endlessly. Nobody changes their life by talking about it. You change your life when you do what others won't. When you take the first uncomfortable step and refuse to stop, no matter how hard it gets. Because once you commit fully to action, life starts moving in your favor. The universe rewards those who dare to create, not those who wait to feel ready. Intentions are safe. They protect you from judgment because you never actually risk anything. You can always say, I was about to start, or I'll do it soon, and keep your pride intact. But deep down, you know the truth, that safety is killing you. Comfort is the quiet poison that keeps you average. Action is the antidote. Every time you move, even when you're scared, you gain strength. Every time you take a small step toward your goal, you prove to yourself that you're capable. Confidence doesn't come before action. It's built through it. Stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for signs. Stop asking for validation. Nobody will believe in your dream until you give them a reason to. You have to become undeniable through work, through results, through relentless consistency. The world doesn't listen to excuses. It listens to evidence. You say you deserve success. Prove it. You say you want freedom. Earn it. Every day is a test, and only action passes it. Your intentions are invisible. The world can't see what's in your head. It only sees what's in your hands. What you've built, what you've done, what you've achieved. You could have the most beautiful vision imaginable, but until you take action, it's nothing more than fantasy. Dreams die in silence. Actions make noise. You want to change your life. Stop thinking about it. Start moving, start creating, start failing forward. Because failure from action is still progress, but regret from inaction is eternal. The most dangerous habit in the world is saying, someday. Someday is a lie that steals your future. Every great success story began with someone who stopped saying someday and started saying now. Action is what transforms ideas into impact, potential into performance, vision into victory. The world doesn't care about your good heart or your great ideas. It only rewards what you do with them. So move, build, try, fail, learn, repeat, because in the end, it's not your intentions that define you. It's your actions that decide your destiny. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Pain is the price of power. The truth most people never want to face is that everything extraordinary is built on suffering. Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from endurance. Every time you choose comfort, you trade your future for a temporary feeling. You silence the voice that pushes you to evolve. You tell yourself you deserve a break, that you've done enough, but deep down you know you're avoiding the hard work that would make you unstoppable. Comfort whispers lies. It tells you that you're safe, that you're fine where you are, that the pain isn't worth it. But comfort doesn't build empires. It builds average lives filled with regret, built on excuses and what ifs. Pain is not your enemy. It's your teacher, your test, your transformation. Every person who's achieved greatness had to walk through fire. They suffered losses, rejections, humiliation, failure, loneliness, and still moved forward. That's the difference. They understood that pain is the price you pay to unlock your next level. Every rep in the gym, every sleepless night chasing your dream, every setback that forces you to rebuild, it's all part of the process. Pain refines you. It burns away weakness, fear, and hesitation until only discipline and hunger remain. When life gets hard, most people quit. They search for comfort the moment things get uncomfortable. They don't realize that the very pain they're running from is the door to power. You can't have strength without struggle. You can't have confidence without challenge. You can't have greatness without sacrifice. The people who reach the top are not the most talented. They're the most resilient. They've learned to sit with pain and use it as fuel instead of fear. They understand that discomfort is a signal that growth is happening, that something inside them is breaking to make room for something stronger. You've been taught to avoid pain, to seek pleasure, to stay comfortable, to choose the easy path. But that mindset has created a generation of people who are soft, easily broken, and endlessly dissatisfied. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it's a trap. It dulls your hunger, numbs your ambition, and convinces you that you're doing fine when you're actually decaying. The more you chase comfort, the further you move from your potential. Because greatness lives in resistance, in the moments you want to quit but keep going anyway. Every champion, every billionaire, every leader you admire, they all have scars. They've been through pain most people couldn't handle. But instead of running from it, they embraced it. Pain became their fuel. When the world told them no, they kept working. When they were exhausted, they pushed harder. When everyone doubted them, they believed anyway. That's the power of pain. It builds unshakable strength. Comfort never will. Comfort keeps you safe, but it also keeps you small. It locks you in mediocrity while convincing you that you're happy. You can't grow inside your comfort zone. That's the harsh reality. Every major leap in your life will come from moments that test your limits. When your mind screams, stop, and your body feels like giving up, that's when you're transforming. That's when the weak version of you starts dying and the powerful one begins to emerge. Pain is the gateway to every breakthrough. It teaches discipline, sharpens focus, and forces you to evolve. The people who avoid pain remain ordinary because they never face the pressure that creates diamonds. Look around. The world is full of people who could have been great but chose easy instead. They wanted success without sacrifice, wealth without work, respect without resilience. But life doesn't work that way. You can't cheat struggle. You either face it willingly now or suffer regret later. The difference is that one pain makes you powerful, the other breaks you permanently. The pain of discipline builds you, the pain of regret destroys you. You have to decide which pain you're willing to live with. When you embrace pain, you become unstoppable, because pain exposes the truth. It shows you who you really are. When everything's comfortable, you can pretend to be strong. But when life gets hard, masks fall off. Pain strips you down to your core and reveals your real strength, your real hunger, your real purpose. That's why most people never reach greatness. They never stay in the fire long enough to see what they're made of. The moment life hurts, they run. The moment pressure builds, they fold. But power is born in pain. Every second you endure what others avoid, you rise above them. Discomfort is the currency of achievement. Every time you choose the hard thing, waking up early, training when tired, working when uninspired, pushing when it hurts, you're making a deposit into your future. Those deposits compound. They build unbreakable confidence, mental toughness, and inner peace that comfort can never provide. Comfort gives temporary pleasure. Pain gives permanent power. You must rewire your mind to see pain differently. Stop avoiding it. Respect it. Chase it. Because pain means progress. Pain means you're pushing limits. Pain means you're alive and evolving. The greatest version of you is on the other side of discomfort, waiting for you to stop settling. The moment you accept that pain is necessary, you become dangerous. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop expecting ease. You start moving with purpose, no matter how you feel. Every day you choose between two paths, comfort or greatness. Comfort gives you now. Greatness gives you forever. Comfort gives peace without purpose. Greatness gives purpose through pain. The world belongs to those who choose the second path, those who dare to endure when it hurts, who refuse to quit when it's uncomfortable, who embrace struggle as the forge of strength. Because once you learn to love pain, you control it. And when you control pain, nothing can control you. So stop running from discomfort. Stop waiting for things to get easier. They won't. You don't need an easier life. You need to be stronger. Pain is not your punishment. It's your preparation. It's the process that molds you into the person capable of handling everything you've prayed for. Every struggle you face is shaping the weapon you'll use to win. Comfort will always tempt you, but remember this, the soft life looks beautiful until you realize it comes at the cost of power. You can't live easy and die legendary. If you want greatness, walk through the fire, take the pain, master it. Because the more pain you endure, the more power you gain, and that power becomes your freedom. You're sitting on potential worth millions, but fear keeps you broke. Not just financially broke, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually broke. You've got ideas that could change your life, talents that could build empires, and instincts that could lead you to everything you've ever wanted. But you're too scared to use them. You talk yourself out of greatness before you even start. You tell yourself you're not ready, that you don't have enough experience, that someone else is already doing it better. But the truth is, fear has become your prison, and you're the one guarding the door. You've locked away your potential because you're afraid of failure, of judgment, of the unknown. Meanwhile, your dream version of life, the one filled with wealth, power, and freedom, is waiting for you to be brave enough to claim it. Fear whispers in your ear every day. It tells you to play it safe, to stay comfortable, to avoid risk. It disguises itself as logic, as patience, as being realistic. But what it's really doing is keeping you stuck in a loop of mediocrity. Every time you let fear win, your confidence dies a little. Every time you stay silent when you should have spoken, when you stop, when you should have continued, when you hesitate, when you should have acted, you reinforce the belief that you're not capable. You're not failing because you lack talent or opportunity. You're failing because you're too afraid to try. You have no idea how powerful you are. You've barely scratched the surface of what you can become. The reason you feel restless, unsatisfied, and unfulfilled is because your potential is screaming to be used. It's begging you to wake up, to stop wasting your gifts on fear and excuses. The sad truth is, most people die with their potential still inside them. They let fear silence their greatness. They trade their dreams for security, their ambition for stability, and their purpose for comfort. They live small lives not because they have to, but because they're too afraid to live big ones. The world is filled with people who could have been millionaires, leaders, innovators, creators, but fear kept them playing small. Fear of being judged, fear of failing, fear of losing everything. But here's the irony, you're already losing everything by doing nothing. You're losing time. You're losing confidence. You're losing the chance to become who you were meant to be. Every day you delay action, your potential depreciates like a car sitting idle in the garage, full of horsepower, but going nowhere. You could change your entire life in a year if you just replaced fear with discipline. But instead you settle. You say, one day, as if the clock will wait for you. Fear is an illusion that grows stronger the longer you avoid it. It feeds on inaction. It thrives in hesitation. But the moment you face it, it loses power. The moment you act despite fear, you reclaim control. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. Every great person you admire felt fear too, but they didn't let it dictate their choices. They understood that fear is just a test, a barrier between the life you have and the life you want. Those who cross it win. Those who don't watch others live their dreams while wondering what could have been. You say you want success, but you avoid the pressure that creates it. You say you want freedom, but you refuse to risk failure. You can't have it both ways. Success is the reward for those who step into the unknown. Wealth belongs to those who are willing to look stupid, to fall, to get back up again. You don't need another plan or another idea. You need courage, because your potential means nothing if you're too afraid to use it. You could have the mind of a genius, the talent of a prodigy, the heart of a warrior. But if fear runs your life, you'll die average. Think about what fear has already stolen from you. The opportunities you didn't take, the chances you didn't risk, the moments you held back. Fear convinced you to play small, to stay safe, to wait for the right time. But there is no right time. There's only now. Every moment you delay is a moment someone else uses to get ahead. The world doesn't stop moving because you're scared. It keeps rewarding the brave, the bold, the relentless. And that's why fear is so expensive. It costs you everything while convincing you it's keeping you safe. The truth is, you have a millionaire inside you, not just in money, but in mindset, in ability, in potential. You have ideas that could build businesses, skills that could inspire millions, and energy that could move mountains. But fear convinces you to stay in the shadows. You think it's protecting you, but it's really suffocating you. You think avoiding risk keeps you safe, but it's slowly killing your spirit. Fear is the thief of destiny. It doesn't just take your dreams, it takes your identity. It turns warriors into warriors and creators into consumers. You've got to make a choice: let fear control you, or start controlling fear. Fear will always be there, but you don't have to obey it. The secret is simple: action kills fear. The moment you take a step, fear weakens. The more you move, the smaller it becomes. Confidence isn't built through thought, it's built through movement. You'll never feel ready. You'll never feel fearless. You just move anyway. And every move makes you stronger. Every small victory rewires your brain to believe again. The real tragedy isn't failure. It's never trying. You can recover from failure. You can rebuild after loss. But you can never get back the years you spent doing nothing. The graveyard is full of people who had potential worth millions, ideas that could have changed the world, gifts that could have inspired generations, but fear kept them quiet. Don't be one of them. Don't let fear write your story. You were born to create, to conquer, to lead, but that version of you will never exist until you decide that fear no longer deserves power over your life. You're sitting on gold, raw, untapped, limitless power. You could build something extraordinary with it. You could transform your entire reality. But every day you choose fear, that gold stays buried. You don't need permission. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start digging. Fear will tell you you're not ready, but the truth is you've been ready for a long time. The only thing standing between you and your potential is the courage to act. The day you decide that fear has taken enough from you is the day your real life begins. Because when you finally stop letting fear keep you broke, you'll realize you were never powerless. You were just afraid to use your power. The only true wealth is created when discipline destroys doubt. Wealth doesn't start in your bank account, it starts in your mind. It begins the moment you decide that no excuse, no distraction, no uncertainty will control you anymore. Discipline is the bridge between potential and power, between wanting and having, between dreaming and doing. Doubt, on the other hand, is the silent killer that stops millions of people from ever reaching what's theirs. You can have all the talent in the world, all the ambition, all the plans. But if doubt rules your thoughts, you'll sabotage yourself before you even start. Discipline is the weapon that silences that voice. It's the fire that burns through hesitation and fear. When discipline takes over, doubt dies, and that's when true wealth begins to grow. Most people think wealth is about money, but that's just the surface. Real wealth is freedom, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. And freedom only comes from mastery. You don't get there through luck, motivation, or good intentions. You get there through consistency. Discipline is doing what needs to be done long after the mood to do it has disappeared. It's the ability to show up every single day, tired, uninspired, distracted, and still give your best. Because you understand that every repetition, every sacrifice, every hour invested compounds over time. Discipline is the foundation on which every fortune is built. Doubt is the opposite. Doubt whispers that you're not good enough, that you might fail, that your efforts don't matter. It tricks you into waiting for the right moment, when in truth, the right moment never comes. Doubt loves comfort. It wants you to play safe, stay average, remain predictable. It thrives when you skip the gym, when you procrastinate, when you tell yourself, tomorrow. Every time you obey doubt, you strengthen it. Every time you give in to laziness, you feed it. But the moment you act with discipline, when you do what's hard, when you push through fatigue, when you say no to temptation, doubt loses power. Action is the antidote to doubt, and discipline is sustained action. Discipline doesn't feel good. It's boring, repetitive, uncomfortable. But that's the point. It's supposed to hurt. That pain is proof that you're growing. Every time you do what others won't, you build mental muscle. You train your mind to obey you instead of your feelings. Most people are slaves to emotion. They only work when they feel like it. But feelings are unreliable. They change daily. Discipline doesn't. Discipline says, I'll do it anyway. That's the mindset of a winner. That's the difference between the rich and the poor, the strong and the weak, the successful and the forgotten. The disciplined build empires, the doubtful build excuses. Think about it. Every great achievement in history came from discipline. Athletes who trained in silence while no one watched. Entrepreneurs who kept building when no one believed. Artists who perfected their craft while others slept. They didn't wait for motivation. They created momentum through discipline. Each day, they made a deposit into their dream until it turned into reality. They understood that wealth doesn't appear overnight. It's earned through years of consistency. They didn't let doubt distract them because they trained their mind to stay focused. That's how discipline destroys doubt, not through words, but through relentless action that leaves no room for hesitation. Doubt will always exist, even for the strongest. But discipline doesn't need you to believe. It just needs you to act. You can doubt yourself and still move forward. You can be scared and still take the next step. Discipline doesn't require confidence. It creates it. Every time you act despite doubt, your self-trust grows. Every promise you keep to yourself builds strength. And soon, you realize that wealth isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by who you become. The disciplined version of you is a magnet for success. Because while others talk about goals, you live them. While others hesitate, you execute. Money follows mastery. Mastery follows discipline. And discipline begins when you stop negotiating with weakness. You stop saying 5 more minutes. You stop listening to your excuses. You stop waiting for motivation. You simply do the work. That's when things start changing. Discipline compounds faster than interest. The more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Each day of consistency builds a foundation that no setback can shake. You become unstoppable not because life gets easier, but because you become tougher. Doubt is a luxury you can't afford if you want to win. It costs you opportunities, momentum, and years of your life. Every time you let doubt win, you delay your destiny. And those lost moments never return. Discipline teaches you to move without permission, to keep going without reassurance, to trust effort over emotion. The world doesn't reward those who want it, it rewards those who do it. When discipline becomes your default, success becomes inevitable. You no longer rely on motivation because you've trained yourself to operate above it. The richest people in the world aren't the smartest. They're the most consistent. They didn't get rich by chance. They got rich by habit. They showed up when others quit. They believed in systems more than feelings. They were disciplined enough to build when the results weren't visible yet. That's how real wealth is made, through years of invisible effort that suddenly become visible to everyone else. But the invisible part is where doubt kills most people. They can't handle silence, boredom, or struggle, so they give up. The disciplined, however, keep going, and eventually, they own everything the doubtful only dreamed of. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's you proving to yourself that you can be trusted. It's the ultimate display of self-belief, not through words, but through action. When you live with discipline, you no longer need external validation because you trust your own process. And when you live like that, wealth in all forms, financial, emotional, spiritual, begins to follow you naturally. You attract abundance because you've become the type of person who deserves it. So understand this. Your breakthrough won't come from luck. It'll come the moment you decide to live with discipline. The moment you stop letting doubt dictate your actions. The moment you stop negotiating with weakness. That's when your life changes. You'll start waking up earlier, working harder, thinking sharper. You'll start seeing results where before there was only frustration. And slowly, you'll realize that discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. It frees you from fear, from indecision, from failure. The only true wealth isn't in money, it's in mastery. It's in knowing that no matter what happens, you can rely on yourself. That's what discipline gives you. It gives you certainty in an uncertain world. It gives you strength when doubt tries to whisper again. And when that happens, when your discipline finally destroys your doubt, you'll become unstoppable. You won't just be rich in money. You'll be rich in confidence, in control, in purpose. Because the moment discipline takes over, everything you've ever dreamed of stops being a fantasy and starts becoming your reality.